Now, if that wasn't cool enough, we're going to go forward a little bit, and we're going to pack this and send it to a user who doesn't have this database, who isn't connected to this data. So here I'm going to delete these sheets. This is getting more now transitioning into some of the PackNGo features. So I'm going to delete these sheets. I'm going to keep this one. We'll call it Hero Sales.
Okay, Jordan, explain to us just a little bit what is PackNGo, and you're about to show us what it's doing, but what is it in terms of how it's going to help our audience of analysts and business users?
Great. Good question, Floyd. So what we wanted to do with PackNGo is allow more of the business users to answer their own questions without needing to be connected to the data. So analysts can go through, build reports, embed the data that they want to send to them, basically have a lower privileged or lower licensed user to be able to take that incoming workbook, pull that data out of that workbook, and then be able to create new series of reports off of it, answer their own questions. And that's really the genesis of PackNGo. Was if you're not connected to the data, but you still want to receive reports, interact, and drill down, then this is a good way to, the PackNGo was really created for that purpose, which is really just let me as an analyst build this out for you. I'll send it to you as a business user. You can receive it, open it up, it'll unpack the data automatically, and you'll be able to drill down and have some limited interactivity. Basically whatever data the analyst decided to send with the report. So here, if I wanted to, if I wanted to just kind of make this a little prettier, we'll hide this expression. So basically, when I send it to the user, they're going to be able to change the salesperson and see the sales update for any salesperson they picked. I'll click up here. Up here on the navigation pane, you're going to see something called PackNGo. And it asks me, yeah, I'll just go ahead and save changes. And then it's going to say, hey, where do you want me to output this pack workbook? Where do you want me to pack it? It's kind of a working directory. So by default, it's just going to go to my documents directory. Now I'll have an opportunity to change that directory when I want to distribute it in a minute. And what it's doing right there is it's looking at the report, looking at what I've created and saying, hey, I need to take that data from the database and basically compress it and put it inside of the workbook. And then it's going to ask me, okay, what do you want to do with this? I've packed it. Now, do you want me to email this as attachment? Do you want me to email this as a link to a document location? Like if I had picked maybe a shared directory initially, it would draft an email with a link to that shared directory. Or I can simply just attach it. But we've also added some Dropbox options. And I'm really, really proud, excited to let you guys know about our Dropbox integration options. Microsoft does a great job of really pushing you towards OneDrive, and that's a great product as well. But we know that in the workforce, a lot of people use Dropbox on a daily basis. So we wanted to augment some of the features of Excel with this Dropbox integration. So I'm going to pick the Upload to Dropbox option to distribute the workbook. It's going to ask me to log in and authenticate. And then it's going to actually show me, basically have me pick the location in my Dropbox where I'd like to put this. So I'll click the little folder browser. This is going to iterate through the folders that I have in my Dropbox account. And you'll see this is an EP for one of our QA testers, has a band. And so he shared his EP with me recently. It's pretty cool stuff. I'm going to pick the reports folder. Press OK. And then this little checkbox is important. So if I leave it unchecked, what it's going to do is basically it's going to be on me to share that with others. As we deal with financial data and a lot of different kinds of data, we didn't want to automatically share it on your behalf in a publicly viewable area. So if you check this box, what it's going to do is basically create a shared link that anybody can see if they have the URL. So if you're concerned about the safety of the data and that kind of thing, I recommend you don't check that. I'm going to go ahead and check it today for the sake of the demo because it looks very, very clean. But if you're familiar with Dropbox, they have a lot of different ways that you can share the data once you've uploaded it. But again, today I'm going to go ahead and say create and provide a link to the file. And it's already been put up there, so it's uploaded to my Dropbox. I'm going to close. And then I'm going to close here. And now what it's done is in my Outlook, it's created a draft email saying, hey, someone shared a BizInsight PackNGo workbook with you. To view this workbook, follow these instructions. So if they already have BizInsight, they can pretty much disregard the first instruction. If they don't have it, they can start the free trial. Also, the next step down here is clicking on the link. So if you notice, if I hover over the link here, it's kind of probably a little small on your screen, but there's a little HTTPS icon. What we've done is we've called the Dropbox API and said, hey, I'd like you to share that on this user's behalf. And if I hold down Control and click this link, you'll see it takes me right to that report. Now, by default, Dropbox is pretty cool. It's got a very nice integration with Excel Online, but I'd rather actually like to download it and use it in the local Excel. So here I'm going to minimize my my virtual environment and go back to my desktop. Now here on my desktop, I don't have a connection to the underlying data. All I've got is our base BizInsight 7 license, which allows me to receive packed workbooks or PackNGo workbooks, and also allows me to analyze Excel data in the way that Floyd was showing at the beginning of the presentation. So here I just pasted in that link. So I just kind of, you can imagine in your mind, I received the email, right? I'm just looking at that link here, and I've got a copy of that workbook saved to my desktop right here. So I'm going to double click on it. Come over here to BizInsight 7. I'll start BizInsight 7. And 7 will immediately go, hey, I see you've got some packed workbook in this data, or packed data in this workbook. And it's going to basically pull it out, decompress it, and load it up into memory. Cool. And then once it unpacks it, it happened really fast in this particular case. I wasn't dealing with a lot of data. It also asks you if you want to refresh the workbook once it's been opened. What that does is kind of give it the opportunity to go after that Excel in-memory cache and update it with any differences that happened between the time you packed it and the time you received it. So see, if you check it out here now, I've received this workbook, and the same interactivity that was afforded to me using BizInsight with a connector is given to me with the successfully unpacked workbook. So I can change these values around and get the sales for March or Justin Bieber or Minnie Mouse. And then any of this data that you see, I can use in the formulas within BizInsight, right? If I come up here to BizInsight, I can go to View Data, and you'll see our in-memory cache contains all of the Planet Football sales data for 2014, right? So not only can I interact with what an analyst has sent me, but I can also add on to this. If I wanted to add a super function here, I can do that. If I wanted to add additional queries into it. Now, I can't add new data to it, but I can create new reports with that data that I've received. And that really, in a nutshell, is our PackNGo feature within BizInsight 7.